As a Cowboy fan, I have no idea why Dallas fired Rob Ryan. I really don't. You want to make major...
Because everybody's got to be a scapegoat. You got to have somebody to put the blame on. So they're going to put it on Rob Ryan, and this is part of those, we're going to make some changes here in Dallas, but you don't get rid of the head coach, you don't get rid of the quarterback. It's like New York. We're going to make some changes here in New York, but we don't get rid of Rex Ryan and we don't get rid of Mark Sanchez. Well, then what major changes are you actually making to your program? Not much. The guy who should have been fired, if there was anybody to be fired on the Dallas staff, I think it should have been Garrett.
You know what? And it's funny because a lot of people I've talked to actually feel the same way. Me personally, I don't have an issue with Garrett right now. I don't think he pissed me off in moments throughout the year, of course, but I've never seen a head coach that didn't piss off their fans at times. But I look at Jason Garrett, and he's got these guys playing hard week in and week out. The only thing I didn't like, week 17, he made no adjustment to try and fix where the nonstop barrage of blitzes that Washington was bringing at him. I don't like the fact that he's very hesitant when it comes down to challenging a play that when you're watching it on a 60-yard long TV screen, you can't tell that it's worth challenging. Certain things like that really bother me. But I don't get firing Rob Ryan. I agree with you that he's more of a scapegoat, but I agree even more with the things he said. He took a 31st ranked defense 2 years ago, and in last year had him up to right around the middle of the pack. I think they were like 17th, and then he had them in the top 5 this year. It's not his fault that some of his best defensive players got hurt. It's not his fault that Sean Lee and Bruce Carter, two really good interior linebackers that he game planned all offseason to have these two guys in the middle of the field, and they're not there. It's not his fault that in the most important game of the season, DeMarcus Ware is playing with one arm pretty much. Like, you can't blame him for that stuff. Now, I understand. There are certain things that you can blame him for, hence, like we've talked about when it comes down to the Week 17 game, giving up 200 yards and rushing. Sooner or later, as the defense coordinator, you just got to look at your players and say, go hit Alfred Morris. I don't care what Robert Griffin does, just go hit Alfred Morris. Like, sometimes you just got to do that. And he didn't. But I don't think firing Rob Ryan makes sense. I think Jerry Jones is still blinded by arrogance and overconfidence that he won 3 Super Bowls 20 years ago. That to him, he's still the smartest owner in the NFL. And it's like, jackass. You need to hire a general manager, and you need to stop making football decisions. Just stop.
Yeah, but you're barking up the wrong tree there because it's not going to happen. When he owns the team, he's not going to change it. He has nobody else there trying to convince him to change it. He doesn't have anybody else that has any type of valuable input to put in. He thinks he is the be-all, end-all of the Cowboys. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Shout out to Carl in our chat room. He thinks Jerry Jones is going to run the defense himself this year. Hey, you know what? It is a major problem in Dallas. It really is. There's no question about it. It is a major problem in Dallas. Rob Ryan, I really do think the man's only going to be out of work for a couple days. I highly doubt he spends too much time without a job. He's not going to get a head coaching job, though, let's be honest, which is the one thing he was hoping to get after this run in Dallas. But he's not. Hey, Rob Ryan I don't think people look at him as a head coach, really. And I think that's what kills him more than anything else. But at the same time, you know what? I look at this firing, like you said, and I completely agree with you, like a scapegoat. And we need to blame somebody for us not making it. Jason Garrett runs our offense, and he's our head coach, so we're not going to fire him. So that only leads one other side of the ball, and that's the defensive coordinator and Rob Ryan. Now, they also fired the running back coach, Skip Peete, but that actually makes sense since they were last in the league in running. But the Rob Ryan firing doesn't make any sense to me. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. I think that I think Dallas as a whole loses a game or two this year strictly based on the injuries that they had. And I do agree, next man up and all that kind of stuff, but Dallas doesn't have the depth for next man up on defense because we rock 6 wide receivers and 4 running backs on our roster. Instead of adding corners and safeties and linebackers, we go with a lot of wide receivers and running backs. Hence our offensive-minded head coach. But if we're gonna complain about Jason Garrett, I will say the one thing that bothers me is I don't like Jerry Jones's mindset of that your head coach should control one side of the ball and let your other coordinator control the other side of the ball.
Garrett's never been a defensive-minded guy, though. He's always been an offensive.
But no, Jerry hires guys that are strictly offense. Wade Phillips was strictly defense, and then he brings Garrett in to run the offense. Garrett becomes head coach. They bring in Rob Ryan to run the defense. Where you look at the Giants, the Patriots, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Niners, the list goes on and on and on. Their head coach runs the team. Their coordinators run the respected side of the ball that they're on. But Jerry doesn't believe in that. Jerry thinks that his head coach should run one side of the ball or the other. That would be my knock when it comes down to Garrett and all that, is that he doesn't run the team, he runs the offense. So hence there is no hierarchy for the defense. We go to our defense coordinator. We don't go to Garrett. We only go to our D coordinator. And then if we can't talk to him, we jump Garrett, we go to Jones. Like, that's a problem. It's ridiculous. I don't know. It just causes me a headache. It really does.
So who do you think that the Cowboys are going to bring in now?
I have no idea.
Think they promote from within?
No, I don't. I don't know. I really have no idea. Because, you're not going to get... It's not like you're going to get one of the big-name guys out there to come and just play D coordinator for you. What are you going to do? You're going to call Gruden and say, hey, you want to be our D coordinator? He'll laugh at you.
Yeah, no.
You're going to call Cowher? He'll laugh at you. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to ask Lovie Smith to come and be your D coordinator? He will literally laugh at you. These guys know that they're head coaches. They know they don't need to be a coordinator. And not to mention, if you somehow, some way, sold these guys to come there, any one of them, how quickly did the Cowboy fans start freaking out and saying, oh, just make them head coach, fire Garrett? How quickly do you think that would happen? By week 2 of the preseason? That to me is you couldn't even bring them in if you wanted because it would just set yourself up for even more drama. But I do love the, like I said, I love the Rob Ryan quote. I inherited a team that was 31st in the league in defense and made them better. I expletive made them a hell of a lot better. I'll be out of work for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's not going to be out of work forever. You know that. He'll find a coordinator job somewhere.
Yeah. He's not going to be a head coach. But
if not, he'll make the next Rex or the next Ryan move and get into some type of broadcasting. He'll clean up his scraggly-looking hair and don a suit and sit behind a desk somewhere.
Even Cowboy players are just... Like Jason Hatcher tweeted, very sad day for us here, hashtag Cowboys Nation. Brandon Carr can't believe it's his first year there and that there's already being big changes like this made.
This isn't even that big a change. The big change would have been Romo or Garrett. This isn't a huge change. I don't think firing Rob Ryan and getting somebody new is going to be the difference between them getting a Super Bowl and them not.
I don't think so either.
So to me, to say, oh, well, these are some major changes in my first year here. Listen, coaches get hired and fired every year, buddy. Get used to it.
I was trying to see if they had any ideas of who might come in, but I agree. I agree with Carl. I don't think Garrett gets fired strictly.
He's Garrett's boy. Garrett's his protege. His project. Who else turns a backup quarterback into a head coach?
What a mess in Dallas, baby. What a mess.